Hi, I'm here to talk you through the SIA application process. We're going to cover every step of the process, from registering with the SIA, to submitting your applications and finally, waiting for the SIA to decide to grant you with a frontline door supervision license. On the SIA homepage, select Log into your SIA online account, then select Register for an account. You will be asked to input your personal information to register an account. You will also be asked to create a username and password. When thinking of a password, you need to make sure it follows the password requirements of the SIA. You will need to make sure it does not exceed 30 characters but contains at least 8 characters. Your password will also need to contain at least one number, capital letter, and one special character. If you are unsure on what a special character is, I have highlighted some on this slide for examples. Once you have input all your personal information and read the account privacy notice, all you need to do is select Register. Once you select Register, you will be advised that you'll shortly receive a verification email to activate your account. Please make sure you verify your account, following the instructions on the email sent to you, or you won't be able to finish the registration process and access your SIA account until you do. You need to also make sure that you check your spam or junk box, as the email can get sent to there rather than your normal inbox. To do this, just search SIA notification and the email should show up in your search result. If you have not received a verification email, don't worry, sometimes it takes a few minutes to go through, just make sure you keep checking. If it has been more than 24 hours and you still have not received your email, then you need to contact the SIA by completing an SIA query form on their website. This is what the verification email will look like when you log into your emails to verify and finish registering your SIA account. You need to click the link in the email, and it will direct you back to the SIA website and will advise that your online account has now been activated. Sometimes it might come up saying that an error has occurred. Don't worry, just simply exit the web page and go back onto your emails and click the link again and it will work the second time round. If the link is not highlighted for you to click it, you just need to copy and paste the web address into the web address bar and it will still direct you to the web page you need to go to. Once you have activated your account, you will need to go to the login page and log into your SIA account. As soon as you input your login details and click Login, it will direct you to the verification page. Here you need to make sure that you verify your details. You will need to input your date of birth and declare whether you have ever applied for a license with the SIA before. If you have had a license in the past, then you need to make sure you input your old badge number and details. After you select Submit, this will cause the page to refresh, and the option will change to Finish Registration. After you have finished registering your account, you will be directed to your home page on your personal account, which will look something like this. Once your account is set up and you're logged in, you need to give the email address you have used to register your SIA account to your job brokerage advisor so they can confirm that you have set up your account and they can send a business link through to your account, which allows us to pay for your license. The link will come through to your My Messages and not your emails. When you go into My Messages on your SIA account, this is what the message will look like. If you select View, it will direct you to the message, to accept our business link. This is the page the link will direct you to. Please make sure you read the consent conditions and the privacy policy. Once you have consented to the conditions, the page will refresh, and it will allow you click the Accept button, to accept the business link. Once you have accepted the business link, it will take you back to the homepage of your SIA account. The next step is to start your application. Please note that you will not be able to submit your application until your results have been released, and your qualification has been matched to your account by the SIA. You will know when your qualification has been matched to your account. You will receive a message stating, a qualification has been matched to your details. When you click on Start New Application, if it asks who is paying, please just go out of it, refresh it again and try again. It should take you straight through to the application. The first section of your application is the Diversity Monitoring Form, then the Pre-Application Checklist and Privacy Notice. Please make sure you read through this and then tick the box, stating that you have read and understood the notice and wish to continue with your application. The second section allows you to input the rest of your personal information. Some of it will already be pre-populated. from when you registered your account. You will just need to go through the rest of the fields and input anything missing. The third section is your identification documents. It will ask you if you hold a full or provisional UK driver's license, UK passport, any other passport, a UK biometric residency permit or an original UK birth certificate issued within 12 months of birth. Make sure you have your driver's license or provisional and passport number to hand, as it will ask you to input your driver's license and passport number. If it states certified copy at the top of your birth certificate, then this means it is not an original birth certificate issued within 12 months of birth, so please select no if this is the case. Please also make sure that it is a UK birth certificate and that the document is in English. Otherwise, you will not be able to use it as an original. If you do not have any of these identification documents, then you will have to complete a Group A exemption request. To request this, you need to select no for all of these ID questions and a red message will appear at the top of the page, with a link for you to follow, to apply for a Group A exemption. This is where you will be directed to complete a request for a Group A exemption if relevant to you. You will need to give a brief explanation of why you do not have a Group A document, why you can't obtain one and whether you have an expired UK passport or not. Once you have submitted your request successfully, you will have to wait for the SIA to come back to you with a decision in granting you with one. Whilst you wait for this, you can still carry on with your application. The fourth section is simple, it's just a simple yes or no, if you have ever changed your name, whether this was via deed poll or marriage. If yes, then you will need to select yes and then an option will appear for you to add a name. You will have to put your full name, from the previous name you had. State what month and year you have had said name. Then state the month and year you changed your name, to the one you have now. Simply save the details and it will be added onto your application and you can move on with the next section. The fifth section is your address history. You need to make sure you go back 5 years and that there are no unexplained gaps in between addresses. To start inputting your address history, just simply select Add an address. You will need to select UK residential address, then input the details of your first address you're going to put in. We would advise that you start from your current address, to the oldest. Please be as accurate as you can with the months and years you moved into and out of the addresses. The best way to make sure that you have input these correctly, is by checking that the from and to dates match diagonally to the right, as shown on this slide. If they all match, then you know that you've not left any gaps. If you do have a gap in your 5-year address history, then you will need to request an address exemption. Once you have selected a request for an address exemption, it will direct you to this page. You will need to select the type of address exception, whether it was due to traveling, no fixed abode or another reason. Give a brief explanation as to why you cannot provide an address history for a period in your 5-year address history. Then provide the details of the period in your address history you cannot provide. This will be sent to the SIA, and they will confirm on the continuation of your application, alternatively whether they need any official statements sent out to them, to help them come to a decision. The sixth section is very important. This is the section that it asks for what type of license you are applying for. You are only funded and qualified for a frontline door supervision license, so these are the only 2 options you should be selecting. The seventh section is all about your criminal history. Please make sure you read through the information and ensure there isn't anything extra you have to provide to pass these checks. For example, an overseas criminality check. After you have read through the criminality information, it will ask you to answer 2 questions. 1. Have you had a conviction, caution, or written warning? 2. Have you been charged with an offense that is awaiting trial? These are very simple yes or no questions. Of course, if your answer is yes, then you must disclose the information regarding convictions, cautions, warnings, or any charges awaiting trial. It is also very crucial that the information you input here is correct. Please make sure you read the DBS privacy policy and state that you have read and understood the policy, as you will not be able to continue or submit your application until you have done so. You will then be asked to state whether if you are happy for the SIA to receive a digital and physical copy of your DBS certificate. If you state no to the previous questions, It will delay the SIA to complete their checks on your criminality history and will prevent you from obtaining a license. The 8th section is all about your mental health. The SIA is required by law to check that those applying for an SIA license are fit and proper to work in the industry. Please make sure you answer this question correctly and that you do declare if you have ever been detained under the mental health legislation. If you have, then you need to make sure you give the SIA consent to check your mental health records and provide the information they ask for promptly and accurately. Otherwise, they will not process your application and it will prevent you from obtaining a license. Finally, the 9th section is the last section of your SIA application for a frontline door supervision license. You need to make sure you read and agree this declaration. You will not be able to submit your application until you've done so. You won't be able to agree to the declaration and submit your application until your results have been released. When they have been released, you will just need to log back into your SIA account, edit your SIA application for a frontline door supervision license and tick I agree and select continue. You will be able to review your application before submitting. Once you have reviewed it and you're happy with the information you have given and believe that it is all correct, submit your application to the SIA. If you have ticked I agree and you see this red message appear at the top of the screen, don't worry, this just means that the SIA have not matched your qualification from the awarding body yet. So it might take a day or two for the SIA to go through all the qualifications and match them to the correct accounts. Just in case, make a note of the day you received this message, from when your results have been released. In the event of this message still appearing after 15 working days, then we would need to contact the awarding body to get them to re-upload your qualification. Once you have submitted your application successfully to the SIA, you will be directed to the Next Steps page where it specifically explains your next steps in completing your application. You will be issued an application number, which contains 13 numbers. Please note, this is not your badge number, this is your application reference number, for the SIA to match all the documents together about your application. On the same page, if you scroll down to the What Happens Next section, this is what you need to do to complete your ID checks of your application. It will also give you the web address for you to check for the closest post office branch to you that deals with the SIA. Not all post office branches provide these services. It will also ask you to take your application number and it will specifically state what identification documents they want you to provide at the post office, based on the identification questions you answered on your application. The message will explain about the post office taking payment for your application. This is the only part of this message you should ignore. When you give your application number to the staff at the post office, they will input it into their SIA system and it will show on their system that you are linked with our business account. This will tell them not to take payment off you, as we will make the payment online. You will be given a date that you must go to the post office by, before your application is automatically cancelled by the SIA. Please note that you will also have pictures taken at the post office, to be sent electronically to the SIA, to be printed on your SIA licenses. I would advise to dress smart when you do, as this would look good to potential employers. Sometimes you will be asked to take a photo and upload your identification to the SIA, for you to complete your ID checks of your application. You will know this, as the paragraph, requesting for you to do so, will be in bold writing. You will need to take a photo and then send it to the SIA via the Help tab on your SIA account homepage. From the drop-down options, choose I want to send a document, then choose the type of document you are sending and write a brief message explaining what you are sending. You must then click Browse and Upload to attach the image to the message, then click Submit. Your application will only start being processed by the SIA until you have completed all of these steps. You have completed and submitted your application. You have gone to the post office and completed your ID checks, posted your ID to the SIA if requested and have posted a completed and signed waiver form with the requested documents accompanied with it if you do not have a Group A exemption. Had your photos taken or have posted 2 passport-style photos with your waiver form. Payment has been made by the number 4 group. Now it is the case of sitting back and waiting for the SIA to decide. You will have your DBS checks sent through before the SIA decide. As soon as you have received this message, the estimated turnaround time for the SIA to come to a decision is 25 working days. You will be notified on your SIA account before receiving your license in the post, so make sure you check at least once a week for this. If your application is successful and the SIA have decided to grant you with a license, this is what the message will show. It will detail your license number, license role, license sector, and the expiry date of your license. I do advise that you renew your license before it expires. The conditions of your license will be in the same message, so please make sure you read through it thoroughly, so you are aware of the consequences if you do not follow these conditions. Your physical license will be sent to you shortly after receiving this message. You should now have all the information that you need to complete the full SIA application process. Good luck. You should now have all the information that you need to complete the full SIA application process. Good luck.